week's elections in Virginia. Meanwhile, Democrats maintained control of the state Senate and then took control of the House of Delegates. Yesterday, Democrats elected Don Scott as their speaker designee of the House of Delegates. They also voted in Delegate Charniele Herring as the new Democratic majority leader. Herring had already served as majority leader in 2020 to 2021. She made history as the very first black woman in Virginia to serve as majority leader in Virginia. Live this morning, we want to welcome in the incoming majority leader of the Virginia House of Delegates, Charniele Herring, this morning to talk with us live. Good to see you again. A lot of people in this area know you. You're a familiar face in the district in Alexandria. So let me put it to you simply. What happened Tuesday? Did Republicans lose that election, or did Democrats do something to win it?
Well, thank you, first of all, Tom, for having me. I think what happened Tuesday was that the voters decided that they did not want politicians deciding their health care. I think it was a win for Virginians. It's a win for freedom. It's a win for privacy. And that's what happened.
You know, one of the things that Republicans had been complaining about was that they said Democrats had been mischaracterizing what Governor Glenn Youngkin has been saying was a restriction on abortion of 15 weeks, not an outright ban. Did Democrats go out and explain what they thought Republicans were doing accurately when it comes to abortion?
We absolutely did. A ban is a ban. Anytime that politicians are interfering with the relationship between a patient and a doctor and what is best, and what he was proposing was a ban, and that's simple. And when you look across the nation at other states who have done this, who have put in what he calls a restriction, which is actually a ban, we have women facing life challenges. I mean, their lives are put at risk. We have physicians deciding that they're going to actually leave the state because they cannot practice medicine the way that they were trained to do. This is just an issue that the Governor Youngkin totally lost on, and it's a lesson. He should not interfere into the privacy of individuals' decisions of what to do about their own health care.
So was it enough for Democrats to get elected on this, or are you actually going to try to move legislation on this? As we saw in Ohio, there was a referendum to instill abortion rights into the Constitution. Would you be looking at something like that in the Commonwealth of Virginia?
Certainly so. We attempted this past session to start the process on that. So we certainly, it's foreseeable that we will be introducing a constitutional amendment again. But Tom, I've got to tell you, we also campaign on things that are in people's minds, like fully funding our public schools, like gun violence, making sure that hardworking families have money in their pockets. And that's what our candidates were talking about at the door. But make no mistake, we also made it clear if the issue of abortion came up in those conversations, we would point to and make it clear that it's actually a ban, and point to other states and what has happened when restrictions were put in.
You know, one of the things this governor and some of the other top officials who are Republicans statewide have been talking about a lot the last couple of years are schools and parents' ability to influence what their students are taught. Where do Democrats stand on this as far as getting the state involved in what local school districts teach? We've heard a lot about this, especially over the last 24 months.
Right. So, I mean, traditionally, schools, the power is with the parents' voices. Parents have always been involved in their education. We have PTAs, and it's a local issue. And I think that we're going to make sure that all parents' voices are heard and make sure that our schools are strong. But right now, I have to say what we're facing is a funding issue with our schools. There's a JLOC report issued, and that's where our focus is going to be, is really making sure that our public schools are funded properly and that we are recruiting and, most importantly, retaining school teachers.
So, you know, we got 1 minute left here, and I don't want to end without noting the history that's going to be made in January, both when you reassume the majority leader position and Don Scott takes his seat as the new Speaker of the House. First time that's ever happened in Virginia for an African American. Virginia, as we all know, was formerly the head of the Confederacy in the Civil War. What does this moment mean?
It's symbolic. It is symbolic, and it means a lot, I think, for every Virginian, that we are moving forward, that we have had a past, but we're continuing to learn about our past, but moving forward. And I think it also means hope for people for second chances. That's something that we talk about a lot on my side of the aisle, is having a true second chance. and fostering second chances, true meaning to it, and with support. And so we're all proud of our future speaker, Don Scott, and I look forward to that day. Looking forward to January when he is sworn in.
Delegate Charniele Herring from the 46th District in Alexandria, we thank you for your time. The incoming Majority Leader of the Virginia House of Delegates. Thank you.